She was tortured, nearly murdered at least 5 separate times, erased herself from her own parents' memories, and broke into the most secure bank on Earth. And somehow, the story still isn't about her. This is the real body count behind Hermione Granger's war. And by the end, I want you to answer one question for yourself. If you strip away the lightning bolt scar and the prophecy, who actually won this war? Let's start with the part nobody likes to say out loud. Hermione Granger was never supposed to survive Voldemort's return, not because of fate, because of blood. She was Muggle-born, which in the pure blood ideology driving the entire war meant she wasn't just an obstacle, she was the enemy the whole ideology existed to erase. Death Eaters didn't take prisoners like her, they made examples of them, and she knew that from year 1. The monsters, years 1 through 3. But being marked for death didn't stop her from walking straight toward danger again and again, starting almost immediately. In her first year at Hogwarts, an 11-year-old Hermione got cornered alone by a mountain troll in a girl's bathroom, the kind of creature that had already been described as strong enough to crush a human skull without trying. She survived only because 2 boys who barely knew her ran in after her. Therefore, from her very first month at school, the pattern was already set. Hermione runs toward the danger everyone else runs from. That pattern got worse in year 2, because that's when students across the school started turning to stone one by one, victims of a monster nobody could even look at and live. And Hermione, ever the one determined to solve the unsolvable, figured out exactly what the creature was before anyone else did. But knowing the answer nearly killed her. She was found petrified on the floor of the library, a shattered mirror clutched in her hand, frozen solid for months while her friends fought the actual monster without her. She didn't get to be in the final battle of that year. She'd already paid for it in advance. By year 3, the danger stopped being monsters and started being time itself. Hermione was secretly given a time turner, a device that let her physically rewind hours to attend more classes than should have been humanly possible. On paper, that sounds like ambition. In practice, it meant a 13-year-old was quietly living 2 versions of every day, stacking exhaustion on top of trauma on top of a course load that would break most adults. And that same device, the one meant for schoolwork, ended up saving 2 lives that year, Sirius Black and a hippogriff named Buckbeak, because Hermione was the only one who could think clearly enough under pressure to use it. But that same year, she also stood inches from a fully transformed werewolf in the dark, unarmed with nothing but her own nerve between her and the transformation. Therefore, by the time she was 14, Hermione Granger had already survived a troll, a basilisk by proxy, and a werewolf. And the war hadn't even technically started yet. The war turns real it started for real in her 5th year, in a room full of prophecy orbs, when Death Eaters ambushed her and her friends in the Department of Mysteries. A curse from a Death Eater named Dolohov hit her square in the chest, a spell strong enough to leave lasting internal damage. She nearly died on that floor, in a government building, fighting a battle that officially wasn't supposed to be happening. Because the Ministry refused to believe Voldemort was even back. Nobody sang songs about that night. Nobody wrote her name in the papers. She just healed, went back to class, and kept going. The sacrifice, erasing herself. But here's where it stops being about survival and starts being about sacrifice. Because when the war finally became real and undeniable, Hermione didn't wait to be told what to do. She made a decision most 17-year-olds could never make. She walked into her parents' house, wiped every memory they had of her from existence, and sent them to the other side of the world under new names, so that when the Death Eaters inevitably came looking for the Muggle-born girl's family, there would be nothing left to find. She erased herself from her own childhood on purpose, and she did it alone, before telling anyone, because grief like that isn't something you let your friends talk you out of. Therefore, when the actual hunt for Voldemort's Horcruxes began, Hermione wasn't just along for the ride. She was the one holding it together. She packed an entire portable survival operation into a single beaded handbag, using magic so advanced most fully qualified witches and wizards couldn't manage it. Tents, books, medical supplies, food, Everything three fugitives would need to survive months on the run, with no fixed home, and every wizard in Britain hunting them. While Harry carried the destiny, Hermione carried the actual logistics of staying alive, Malfoy Manor and Gringotts. But the war eventually caught up with her in the most brutal way possible. When the trio was captured and dragged to Malfoy Manor, it was Hermione who Bellatrix Lestrange chose to torture, cutting a slur for her blood status directly into her arm while demanding answers about a stolen sword. And under that torture, in agony, Hermione still had the presence of mind to lie convincingly enough to buy her friends time to escape. That's not just bravery, that's control under conditions designed to strip control away entirely. Therefore, when it came time to break into Gringotts, the most heavily warded bank in the wizarding world, guarded by goblins, curses, and a chained dragon, it was Hermione who walked in disguised as her own torturer, using Polyjuice Potion to become Bellatrix Lestrange's face, just weeks after that woman had carved into her skin. She robbed the bank wearing the face of the person who hurt her. And when the vault's defenses turned violent, she was one of the three who escaped by climbing onto that chained dragon and riding it straight out of the building. The final battle and the verdict. By the time the final battle at Hogwarts began, Hermione had already survived more near-death encounters than most soldiers see in an entire war. But she didn't sit that battle out either. She fought alongside Ron to destroy one of Voldemort's Horcruxes with basilisk fangs recovered from the very chamber that had nearly killed her years before, closing a loop that started when she was 12 years old on a library floor. She fought in the corridors, in the courtyard, in the chaos, as one of the primary targets Voldemort's forces had been hunting since the moment the war turned real. And when it was finally over, when Voldemort was gone and the school lay in ruins, there was no parade for the girl who never had a prophecy written about her, no bloodline that made her special, no chosen one destiny protecting her from harm. Everything Hermione Granger survived. She survived on nothing but intelligence, preparation, and sheer refusal to stop. She wasn't protected by fate. She built her own survival, spell by spell, decision by decision, scar by scar. So here's your answer. If you strip away the lightning bolt and the prophecy, the person who actually carried this war on her back was the one nobody was betting on in the first place. The Muggle-born girl who was marked for death before she ever cast a single spell in anger, and who made it out the other side anyway. Not because destiny said she would, but because she simply decided she wasn't going to lose. She survived the war, but by the end, she wasn't the same 11-year-old who once cried in a bathroom over a troll. That girl didn't make it out. The version of Hermione who walked out of that final battle had buried her piece by piece over 7 years. And that might be the most human cost of this entire story. For more such amazing video, come join and subscribe Avenzo. Drop a comment, press the bell icon to get updated, or more such video. Avenzo, the stories of your loved Charcatiers.